Hey team, today we're going to talk about push-up stands. Many of you maybe haven't tried push-up stands. You're still doing the old-fashioned, old school, just straight on the floor. That's okay. But I wanted to show you a couple of different options in order to get a little bit more out of your push-up. I have two different types. I have the Tony Horton types and I have the perfect push-up types. So I wanted to show you the difference between the two. Alright, so first we'll talk about the Tony Horton. So you can see in this one-on-one, he's using his own invention. And here they are, right here. Here's what I can tell you. They're really heavy. I mean, these are, I don't know if they're stainless steel, but these are really well made. These are going to be around probably after I die. They have a nice foam grip on them. Doesn't twist, and I'm going to show you that's a big difference from the perfect push-ups. And they're also pretty high off the ground, as you can see that. Okay. Now here's the perfect push-ups, and I use these for probably over a year. The perfect push-ups twist like this, and this actually does spin around, which I don't like, because what happens is they end up getting off-center. As you can see, I can just do that from this. This is a little counter that came with it as well, push-up counter. Now you can, as you can see, as you compare one to the other, the perfect push-up is not as far off the ground. And I'll tell you, it makes a big difference when you've been using Tony's for a while and you try and go back to the perfect push-up. I just don't like them as much. But let me show you do a couple push-ups with them, and you can see the difference in how it affects the range of motion. Okay, so first I'm going to do just a regular push-up. So you can kind of see that, and then you can see the range of motion of the other two. So obviously, here you are, like this. Up you go. Cage engaged. Down. And up. Down. And up. And up. Okay? That's pretty tweaky on my wrist. Especially after a long, 60 minute of doing push-ups and pull-ups. That's one of the reasons that I like to use the push-up stands. So here's Tony's push-up stands. You can tell also that there's an angle to them. See, they slant one way. So that angle should be going like that, okay? Now watch the different range of motion. And look how much further I'm off. In fact, my head's almost out of the camera. I'm so far off. Down and up. See the difference in the range of motion? The nice thing about these two is you can do your varying hand grips if you want, right? You can do these, the old heart-to-heart, as Tony would call them, right? If you want to do your military, you can do that. See, but instead of my wrist being like this, my wrist is like this, which is much more comfortable and doesn't put as much pressure on this joint. It's much more natural, in my opinion. So those are Tony's, and then these are the perfect push-ups. And I use these for about a year, like I said. Here's this little perfect counter, and what this does is as you hit it, it tells you made a rep. So if you're curious on whether you're actually going down far enough, some people may be doing this and thinking they're doing a push-up, right? So this will let you know. Boom. 1, 2. Now the interesting thing about the perfect push-up is they turn. So as you go down, you can turn them like that and turn them. So that's a little bit different, obviously. A little bit different motion. It gets your shoulder engaged a little bit more. So there's one more move that I want to show you with the different push-up stands, and that's a shoulder exercise called pike presses. Tony uses them a lot in the Diamond Delts in Volume 1. He actually does 3 rounds of them. By the end of your shoulder, they're really burning. But this is an instance where doing them without a push-up stand, I think, would be really challenging and almost dangerous, because these really give you more stability. So, as Tony's showing behind me, that's how he's doing his pike presses. I want to show you with the two different types of push-up stands what they look like, and then I'll give you my final recommendation. Okay, now I'm going to do some pike presses and show you what those look like. It's a little hard to record in this room because it's a little bit small, but I'll show you here. Should be good enough. You can see as you go down and up. So you can see that nice range of motion that I get with these power stands. Okay, let me show you the perfect push-ups. So I can feel already much closer to the ground. And I, frankly, not sure about the twisting action. I'm not a real fan of that for these, because you want them to be stable. Up. So that is it with the perfect push-ups. Alright, so I got Tony going behind me. You can see his form. He's the man. He's got the perfect form. So what's my final recommendation? No push-up stands, the perfect push-ups, or Tony's stands. Well, I've actually used the perfect push-ups for longer than I've used Tony's. Now that I've used Tony's for the last about 6 months, 5 or 6 months, going back to the perfect push-ups, wow, I really see a difference. I like Tony's better. That is my recommendation. It is higher off the ground, more stable. I mean, they're very, very sturdy. The twisting action, frankly, I don't care for as much anymore now that I've kind of gotten away from it. And for those pike presses, you can see that Tony's are much better, much more stable. They don't twist, which can be kind of dangerous in those pike presses, especially as you're increasing your reps and you're really pushing yourself. You need to make sure you don't hurt yourself. So this is my final recommendation. Tony did it right. He made them. He invented them. Tony's power stands. Well done, Tony. Thanks for the help. Great piece of equipment.